I'm sorry. Your daughter didn't deserve such a terrible and tragic thing to happen to her. I don't expect forgiveness, as I will never be able to forgive myself, and I will be trying to make amends for the rest of my life. There is no excuse. I truly apologize. I will pray for you and your family every day. Don't give in to hate like I did. Love. Goodbye. This is what was read during the last day of a 3-day plea hearing on October 3rd, 2019. Does this sound like someone who's truly trying to make amends? What if I told you this note was written by an arsonist, torturer, rapist, and murderer of a 21-year-old Palestinian woman?
Wow.
Doesn't sound so sorrowful now.
All of that on one.
I would like to remind everyone that the actions of this individual does not reflect all persons with this background or race. You should not misinterpret the actions of one person to change your perspective of an entire group of others. The Morning Shift is a proud supporter of Palestine and believes that its people should be freed. Trigger warning to start because this episode will contain information about sexual assault and violence against women. This episode covers tough ground. We encourage self-care and to skip it if needed. With all that in mind, it's time to dig deep. This is The Morning Shift. That is his handwriting. He wrote that note and tried to hand it to the family. They refused to read it.
As they should. Who's reading that? I'm not reading no note. Say it out loud.
This handwriting's already telling me this guy's crazy. It's too neat. It's too neat.
It was read by a lawyer, not by him. You think he would read it, but he did not.
Definitely not a lefty.
As far as I'm aware. She might have more siblings, but this is the only information I could cover. She was described as very friendly, knowledgeable, easygoing, and someone who knew a lot. Her father stated that she enjoyed studying different cultures and nationalities. Considering she was studying both English and Chinese at Shanghai University and moved from China to Melbourne 6 months before on an exchange program, I would agree with that. Shanghai University actually was ranked number 327 on the best global universities list and has an acceptance rate of 29%.
Ooh.
That's cool.
It was not easy to get into this university, let alone joining an exchange program.
Yes.
I think it would be fair to say that Aya was very intelligent.
Very smart, couldn't he?
Aya was a bright student. Aya was a bright student in La Trobe University. Her plan was to finish her business degree and one day to work at her father's firm in China. For privacy reasons, I will not be mentioning the name of his firm. This was supposed to be considered a safe place. Melbourne is not the name of a terrifying city you hear in the news every day. Australia is known for its interesting wildlife, not so much for anything violent, I would say. Her sister stated that Aya had very big dreams, and her father expressed for her love of the people and the city of Melbourne. But that love would not be rewarded or vindicated. That day was simple and fun in the beginning. Aya had finished her language exchange for the night at her Let's Talk in English meetup for other international students in the city. Her friend had invited her out for a comedy show and had driven Bjork Street so she could safely take the tram home. At the time, she was safe. It was now past midnight, Wednesday, January 16, 2019. At 12:05 a.m., she exited the bus on Plenty Road, and little did she know, she had someone with horrifying intentions heading in her direction. Aya often called her sister on her way back home. It was her only means of feeling safe, as if someone was right next to her. Israel was 7 hours behind Melbourne. At this point, she was only about an 11-minute walk back home, which will be below in the show notes and on Instagram, and I did send it to you both on Discord so you guys can see how far away she was from home.
They always say it happens within a mile of your home.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. That's walking distance. She was so close.
Yeah, so close. To her surprise, Ruba actually picked up the phone. She FaceTimed her sister, expressing her excitement over the comedy show. On the opposing street, there was a young man, bumming a cigarette, for lack of a better word, off of another sweet trailer. and making his way toward her. Aya's final words to Ruba was, "I wasn't expecting you to pick up," before she was attacked. Ruba could hear her sister struggling over the phone, and the sound of 1, rustling, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 strikes. Ruba felt helpless over the phone, unable to do anything.
And that's what her sister heard over the phone?
Yes, her sister heard her being strucken 9 times
With the metal pipe.
with a metal pipe.
Oh my God.
So let's actually dive deep into this actual crime. The killer saw Aya walking toward him. Once he noticed she was about 100 meters from the tram, he attacked her. He struck her over the head with a metal pipe. Once she fell to the ground unconscious, he found a low hedge and dragged her limp body behind that, between a footpath and a car park. He forcibly raped her unconscious body after removing some of her clothes and struck her again.
Oh my God.
Once, twice, thrice, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, 9 times with a metal pipe that he had found right before approaching her, causing multiple fractures. It caused multiple fractures to her skull, her face, lacerations to her brain. Aya died from disastrous head injuries. He then dragged Aya's body further behind the ledge and set her body aflame with an aerosol can using a lighter. He set aflame both her body and her clothing. As the sentencing judge said, the crimes which he committed were deeply shocking, both for their sheer brutality and for their randomness. He actually stated it was random. He had no reason to attack her. He made a savage and sustained attack on Aya. Then he dragged her and raped her.
So I'm assuming he didn't even try to hide the body. He just lit her up there in the middle of the street.
He hid her behind a footpath
Mm.
where a low hedge. Low hedge is basically in a car park of a mall. So it's like he was hiding her, but he wasn't. He didn't really care to hide. He did this, the judge found, to try and destroy evidence that might have implicated him in the attack. The judge found that given the severity of her skull and brain injuries, it was highly unlikely that Aya had survived for any significant period after those injuries were inflicted. Now, who was our killer? And what could have possessed him to do this? As we dive deep into the history of him, please keep in mind that mental illness is not an excuse for murder. Cody Herman was a 20-year-old upcoming rapper. The forensic psychologist, Dr. Andrew Carroll, interviewed him in custody and had access to more than 2,000 pages of material. His mother was Indigenous and his father was German. Cody endured severe childhood neglect from birth, with authorities receiving more parents' chronic substance abuse, domestic violence, and emotional abuse. The neglect was so severe that both him and his sister suffered from rotting teeth due to inadequate care. Before 18 months of age, by the age of 3, both him and his sister were in foster care. Expert testimony revealed that this early trauma mentally impaired his brain development, with ongoing psychological damage compounded by his mother's failure to attend scheduled visits or appearing intoxicated when she did. His father maintained no contact throughout his time in care. The defense characterized his upbringing as occurring within a chaotic, insecure, dangerous environment that was not responsive to his basic needs, establishing a foundation of profound developmental harm. Defense barrister Tim Marsh, chief counsel at Legal Aid Victoria, argued that the plea hearing was not a search for truth, but a search for an explanation. I think it's important for me to concede at the start that I will ultimately fall short in this task. There is not an explanation that I can give you that is going to get us from start to finish. Herman's adult life followed a destructive pattern, collecting welfare payments, purchasing drugs, sharing them with associates, and shoplifting food. He survived primarily on croissants, chocolate milk, while pursuing chronic intoxication through meth and cannabis. Dr. Carroll testified that Cody's severe childhood neglect caused lasting psychological damage and stunted brain development, resulting in a drug-induced psychosis and severe personality disorder. But despite claiming to have no motive to harm Aya, Cody attempted to enter her apartment building on December 3rd and the 9th without justification, days before the murder. A friend found him sleeping on his mother's bedroom floor, where Cody stated, "Bro, I just had 5 psychosis. I saw a murder in my head." Now let's talk about the aftermath. Cody Herman was sentenced to 36 years in prison, with a non-parole period of 30 years. Outside court, Saeed Masari spoke through tears, thanking people of Melbourne and asking people not to focus on the length of Herman's sentence.
Such a short sentence for such a horrific crime.
Her father said, "We don't focus on revenge. That's not our compass. It's not our focus. But to care for society, for the people, for the ladies to be able to go out and go back home. My daughter was someone who was happy, positive, and liked to help everyone. She looked at the people. It doesn't matter which religion, which nation, which color. She looked at people on the same level with the same eyes. She liked all people, all humans. It didn't matter where and when. This is how I want to remember Aya." During her funeral, the picture that emerged of her was of an individual, a young, vibrant daughter, sister, and friend who loved travel and study, spoke 4 languages, a woman who lost her life in a few minutes in inexplicable horror. She used to be all the time smiling, her dad said. Aya's mother, Katam, still watches videos and reads her daughter's text messages just to see her and hear her voice. "I am a mother whose heart has been squeezed in pain day after day." Her father, Saeed, and sister, Noor, plan to visit Aya in Australia. "A lot of time I find myself lost in crowds, or sometimes stuck in the past. Now I live with fear," Noor wrote. And that is the murder of Aya Masari. I know that this episode was very intense, but please be mindful of your mental health.
Right. Does Australia have longer sentences for murder like that?
So during my research, there have been longer sentences, but his mental health was taken into account. So they're hoping that they can actually get him rehabilitated while in prison, because the prisons are
Whoa.
different than here. So they thought a shorter sentence would be good. But that's why he's not getting parole at all during that 30 years at least. But I'm pretty sure the 6 years, because it's 36 years prison time, is like, oh, well, if he's good, maybe he can get out at 30, which,
Yeah.
So his sentence was lightened because he got, let me check my notes here, scabies when he was young, and also the voices.
no, so his drug-induced psychosis, because he did do meth and he was smoking cannabis and such, the fact that he was inside the foster care with his sister at a very young age, his father never visited, his mother would visit, but while drunk.
Yep.
I think that's mainly why they shortened the sentence.
Whoa.
I wouldn't say necessarily, because he is 20 years old. So, I mean, I'm not a therapist. I'm not going to pretend I'm a therapist at all. But I know that typically people go through psychosis between the ages of 25 and 35.
But the issues that he was having with his mental health were drug induced. As long as he doesn't do the drugs, then there's no more mental health issues, right?
You would think.
So he could end up relapsing. We don't know exactly what'll happen, but because he has a severe personality disorder, that's what he was diagnosed with. I'm not the therapist. That's what he was diagnosed with. He could still relapse in some way, which is why I think that he should be in a mental facility, I guess outside care with a therapist while he's in prison, personally. I don't believe he should be released.
Yeah.
If the goal is rehabilitation,
Exactly.
please keep him in prison. How old was she?
She was 21. She was a year older than him.
Insane.
Yeah. I did send a picture of her in the Discord so you guys can see what she looks like. She is a beautiful young woman.
Aw.
And I will say every photo I found on her, because I found a lot of photos. I actually found her old Instagram. I saw pictures posted by her sister on her Instagram. I saw other pictures posted by friends. There were over 1,000 people at her funeral. Over 1,000 people actually showed up to her funeral. I think it was mostly partially because of like the cultural aspect of just having a Muslim girl murdered, but also she made such a big impact in her community that 1,000 people showed up.
I couldn't even imagine listing 100 that would show up at my funeral. 1,000 is insane.
Which I think is insane.
Even if everyone in my neighborhood showed up to my funeral, that's still only 100 people. So it being 1,000
That's
is.
impressive.
She was loved.
I'm not gonna have 1,000 people at my funeral,
Yeah,
She was loved.
right?
I couldn't bribe 1,000 people to show up to my funeral.
And then he had the audacity to write a note
Yeah.
and try to slip the family a note.
Yeah.
After that,
Oh yeah.
Oof.
She was incredibly loved. And she was such a sweet soul. I think the worst part is when he said, "Don't give in to hate like I did." You killed their daughter.
hate what? What did you hate? You saw a woman walking past and was like, "Yep, that one." What?
Not only
hate?
that, he stated that he had no reason to attack her. He doesn't know why he did it. So what do you mean you gave in to hate? You don't know why you did it.
Sir, it was the meth. You didn't hate
Yeah,
anything. That was the meth talking.
And there is actual CCTV footage of her walking and him approaching her, and him bumming the cigarette off the street dweller. I actually have that footage. I'm gonna post it so you guys can see it, and it will be on the Instagram. But it's kind of wild because you see right before they meet each other, there's literally no cameras where he attacked her. You can just see the area where he left her body, but you can't see her body because she's behind the hedge. So
insane.
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, definitely crazy.
Aya was an interesting person, and she made a very lasting impact. There is a foundation that was actually created after she passed, basically to protect young women and to combine hospitals of Israeli people and Palestinian people in Gaza, which I will actually be posting as well, because it funded her funeral, and a lot of people commented on it.
Yes.
But I will be posting that as well.
Remember, kids, don't do drugs.
No, seriously, don't do drugs. Honestly, because you could hurt somebody as amazing as Aya. This is the morning shift.